Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another session of Dragonmark Symphony here on Natural One Media. I am your DM, Dylan, here with my friends. Our last session was pretty eventful, so we should hop right into it. The group has decided to split themselves even further. Silva and Johannes decided that they were going to stay in the central ward here in the city of Passage, wanting to seek out Jacqueline Harding, who is a arcane blacksmith working in the city. They did so, and she presented them a very interesting opportunity. There were a few pieces of enchanted armor that she was selling, and she offered to sell them to the duo at a reduced price if they were to carry out a task for her. The task in question being to seek out a vampire by the name of Sarah, who owed a great deal of monetary debt to Jacqueline. The task was to locate her and convince her to reimburse Jacqueline for the 10,000 gold galifars that she is owed, a substantial amount of money. And in return, she would sell you those armors at a greatly reduced price, but also to sweeten the deal, she provided Silva with a rapier that once belonged to Sarah. And Silva, if you look in your character sheet, you should now see that rapier has been added. It is a magical item. It has to be attuned, and the way to attune it is to provide a tribute of blood to the blade itself. Only good things can happen with magical weapons like that.
Especially blood ones.
Mm-hmm. Always the blood ones. So Jacqueline also provided you with several locations where Sarah had kept caskets where she had slept in during the day, because she is a vampire, and while they are able to go out in daylight, they vastly prefer to operate during the night when the sun is not out. You visited a sort of broken down, seemingly abandoned building just a few blocks away that had been one of her previous haunts. You managed to get inside and then began heading downstairs into a basement. And just as you were going to turn a corner into the basement proper to see what was there, we had kind of cut you all off there. Set, meanwhile, was planning to head just straight back to the Dragon Inn after a very difficult experience in navigating a astral maze out in space and narrowly returning with their life intact, though it may actually have belonged to someone else previously. Set began making their way back to the inn and narrowly avoided detection as somebody appeared to be searching for them out in the streets. But they were able to use their stealth and their cunning to avoid them and return back to the inn. And when they did, they were met with a couple of faces, some familiar and some new. They were reintroduced to Annette, who was a ranger that you all had met at another Dragon Inn on your way to the city of Passage, who had taken up a... the word escapes me, but she was there for the accounts that there was a werewolf in the area that needed to be hunted. She had, sort of investigated a bit of the situation with you all. She had dinner with you the night before, and it had been brought up that there was an irregularity happening with the moons that were currently in the night sky, as it appeared that Siphoros was in clear view in the sky, which was odd because Siphoros is a moon that generally appears later in the year of the lunar calendar. And it is also a moon associated with the shadow Dragonmark, and is seen as a very ill omen. She volunteered to return back to her hometown and see if she could dig up any additional information, and that she would re-meet with all of you in the City of Passage. And so she is now there. She's at the Dragon Inn. She has also brought, appears to be her younger sister, Sophie, with her. And you briefly spoke with them, but you really just wanted to get back to your room. So you did so. You went back to your room, pulled out the candle that you acquired from being in the astral maze, and decided to snuff it out again to see what would happen. And Johannes, you don't know within game, but Bennett, the player, you know very well the person whose life was foretold and ended within the visions of the candle. As a very important person who's near and dear to them, is no longer alive, seemingly. And that is basically where we ended off, with Set sort of regaining their consciousness on the bed, the candle having rolled over onto the floor, wax beginning to spill out everywhere. As we rejoin you, Set, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
It was a 14.
Okay. You are going to take 5 points of psychic damage.
Okay.
And also you experience a vision. You see in your eyes, like it's pasted over them, something flashes across them. You see the image of the archway that you used to exit the maze and return back to our world. You just see like this vision of it just sort of standing clear, the golden energy radiating from inside of it. You also see in your mind the word Aryth, Aryth, just sort of flashes in your consciousness. But you also see the word Dolur, Dolurrh. And the last thing you see is this swirl of blues and greens as what appears to be the semblance of a Dragonmark sort of forms before you in your mind before it is ripped away from you and you regain consciousness once again. Your heart is beating very fast. You are sweating. You feel your skin is cold and clammy. Your breathing is ragged. It feels like you just came out of like swimming like a kilometer in a minute, just like exhausted, cold, very much not well. And the candle still lays on the ground a few feet away from you, and wax is just like melting away from it at an accelerated rate.
This candle better have like a set uses.
I mean, you mean besides the two that have already happened?
Yes. Like my spice pouch has 10 uses per day. This thing better have 2.
Your spice pouch, A, doesn't murder people, as far as we know, unless they have a severe allergy. And B, we'll get to it. Essence of peanut butter.
Yeah.
So is the candle like still lit?
Yeah.
I thought after extinguishing it, it stayed extinguished until the essence was used.
Yes. It stays extinguished until the essence is used, so it is not lit, but the wax is still sort of melting off of it.
Okay. I'll kind of like stagger a bit and then look and then try to like pull it together and like clean it up.
You pull it up into your hands. It feels, the coldness you feel is subsued by the warmth coming from the candle. And as you kind of like try to like wipe it off and feel, the candle itself, it's the waxy exterior. In places, it almost feels more like skin than wax.
Kind of gross.
Cool. That's
all right.
Oh, nasty. Anyways,
feeling that Set will kind of like recoil a little bit and take a some sort of like linen or like cloth and like wrap the candle in it.
Okay.
And like put it in their bag, like in the deepest part of their bag, and
Just deepest recesses.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep, you do so. It makes no noise, and you.
I would hope not.
But you know, just gonna. Yeah, you stow it away safely.
And at that point, still feeling like off and just not well, I think Set will go ahead and take a nap.
It's gonna conk out.
Yeah, everything's already set up in the room for it, so I'll just pass out.
Okay. Meanwhile, in an abandoned building,
we were in some stuff too.
Multiple miles away.
We were going through it.
No, not nearly that.
Not that bad, but we had like a spooky staircase.
Not that bad so far.
Dusty thing, yeah. We hadn't hit anything yet.
Yet.
I mean, I was getting a little concerned, but anyways, yes, the abandoned building.
I believe, Silva, correct me if I'm wrong, you had the light spell cast on the rapier so that you could also use it to like illuminate the space ahead of you.
Yes, it is my torch.
Yeah. Yes. So the two of you, if you recall, you had reached the base of the stairs and you were rounding a corner to where the basement kind of expands out.
Yes.
You come around this corner and you bring the sword around, and as you do, you're able to see a little bit more. The far corners of the basement are still completely pitch black, but you can see that there is like an enormous wooden workbench posited in the middle of this basement. The walls are all like aged stone. There's mold, tons and tons of cobwebs all hanging about above your heads. And there's this large wooden workbench. And it's been largely cleared off. But you can see there is a very rusted, like a hammer. There is a pair of pliers that are also incredibly rusted. And there is a cloth that has been laid out over the table that is heavily stained, like browns and reds and blacks that just kind of smeared out over the cloth. And there is
Tell me it's been a while.
Old blood. Fear the old blood.
There is also a little pouch sitting next to the hammer and the pliers.
I want to go check out that pouch.
All right. Would you like to examine it?
Yeah, I'll like open it up.
Yeah. You open it up and immediately like a foul, weird stench just like hits you.
Oh. I'm just gonna like turn it over and dump it out onto the.
You turn it over and you dump out, and like several like slightly off shapes just kind of like tumble out and hit the table. Slightly crooked, a little bit of a sharp edge to some of them, and they're a mixture of like brown and like a very pale white. You look as looks like 7 or 8 of what appear to be teeth tumble out onto the table.
Dear God, ew. Someone was collecting teeth here, and they look like different kinds, so they're from different creatures.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why someone would be collecting teeth.
Well, in some cultures, it is used as a currency, I think, but I may be thinking somewhere else. Um, but you know, I don't know quite enough. There's like 2 realms, right? There's a vampire, so
Yeah.
maybe there's some form of weird
Vampiric ritual
or just like
some such.
they're like, if I collect the teeth of my victims, or it could honestly just be as simple as maybe she wishes to become a dentist. And
It's a bit hopeful.
well,
Is
look, we
there-
were mostly told the only information we have about this vampire specifically is that she's kind of a deadbeat.
Yeah,
Haven't
you
been
know
told
what?
that
Yeah.
she's explicitly
We never heard her side of
dangerous.
the story, too.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely putting it in the. I'm definitely putting in the trust that there is the truth in the amount of money that she owes. But that's where our discussions with her were going to surmount to. We're not here to immediately beat you for the money. We want to talk about why do you owe the money? / do you have the money? /
Slash.
what can we do to maybe help you figure this out? We're not going full like loan
Guns
shark
akimbo.
on her.
Ed.
That is
Jekyll
not
and
the
Hyde
plan.
sends her regards. Is there anything else in this room, or is it just the workbox in there?
You look around, having looked at the table now. You kind of look around, and it's a wonder that you didn't see it first. But when you kind of look over to the left, there is an enormous wooden casket that is kind of propped up against the wall. It's like 7 feet tall, a huge wooden casket, and it is closed.
That's yeah,
Walk up.
she must be. I guess that's a.
I'll walk up to it. No, baby.
A dog begins barking from
Oh my
inside
God.
of the casket.
It's the werewolf.
Maisie.
You had to have known that was going to happen. There had to have
Not
been a part
often.
of you that was like,
That not often. She doesn't bark all the time when I do that. I actually do that bit not fairly often. It's okay. She's just really on it this morning. You are a silly girl.
you knock on the casket, and certainly a cloud of dust kind of comes up, but otherwise nothing seems to
Like,
happen.
damn, I knocked it pretty hard then. I made it reverberate dust.
Mhm.
I don't know my own strength. Okay, well, I knocked at least. Is there like a lock or anything on it?
There is a large latch on the right side of the lid of the casket. that is very old, very rusted.
Well, the casket, so inevitably I
We,
have to look.
yeah, I was gonna say we
See if I
gotta.
can pop the latch.
Uh,
Like it wasn't like a lock padlocked, like it wasn't locked in any way, it's just latched.
As far as you can tell, if you'd like to try to open it, you can make a strength check for me.
Okay. Oh well. Okay. We rolled good. It's 19.
19. Oh yeah. It you go to like tug on the latch to see if it's like locked, and it's so old and broken down that it just like breaks off in your hand. It just like breaks away entirely.
Well, I hope part of me thinks that maybe she hasn't been using this one, but
Yeah.
let's be thorough. Try to open the casket then.
You pry open the casket, and as you do, the lid slides over, and you are greeted to an empty casket. Very dirty and dusty on the inside as well. Tons of cobwebs. A large centipede crawls up and over the rim of the casket. And there is this like velvet lining that has been placed inside that is very old and looks like it's been like eaten away by moths and time. But placed in the middle of the casket, there is a folded up piece of paper.
I'll check the paper.
Intriguing.
You pick up the piece of paper. It feels very delicate in your hands. And you can unfold it if you would like. It's very like fragile, and you can see that like the parchment itself is very yellowed and frayed, as if it's been there for a really long time.
Yeah, I'll attempt to delicately.
Make a dexterity check for me, please.
Let's say this is sleight of hand.
It could be.
Okay, well, depending on either of those answers you gave me, it's either a 24 or an 18.
Well, both would pass, so you're fine. You delicately unfold the paper.
Let's say I'm an expert in sleight of hand.
Mhm. And there appears to be a very lengthy note in a very much like a cursive script that has been written. The ink has bled a bit, but you get the feeling if maybe you could get this under some daylight or something, you might be able to possibly read it out. But it's in its current state, it's pretty difficult to read.
All right, well. My light won't really do here. Let's read this outside, but definitely she's not in here.
No, it seems like she hasn't been here for ages. I suppose we'll just have to keep going. We have a few other spots. We have one more spot in the central ward we could still check. But I don't really like this basement. Can we get out of here? I really don't do well around bugs.
I mean, sure, but I don't know about the time. We mostly did this as our kind of one examination before
Yeah,
going
that's
back
fair.
to set. So I'd rather see how they're doing.
Okay, we can check more tomorrow. Alright, I guess head back up the creepy staircase.
Yeah.
You head back over to the staircase and you begin to ascend it, holding the rapier aloft with the light still casting off of it. You look up and you see the door at the very top ahead of you that is closed.
Did we leave that
Did you
open
close
before?
the door?
I didn't close the door.
I
Did you close the door?
No.
Can I go to the top of the staircase and try to open the door?
Yes, you go to open it and grabbing the handle, you try to pull to open it and it does not budge.
Silva?
I wish there's sometimes I wish I kept on I kept on the wizardly path. I would have so many ways of moving this door.
Can I use my thieves' tools and try to pick the lock?
Absolutely, my guy. Go ahead.
Is that sleight of hand, Dex?
That is, I'm pretty sure it's
sleight of hand.
Well, it's I was gonna say, or that I say, yeah, it's always dependent on how you want to roll it
Yeah.
because it's like a tool.
I haven't used it in so long. Let me see here.
Yeah. Well, I feel like tool checks are always a funky.
Yeah.
They're very a play it as you go kind of decision thing on how you want to like. I know plenty of people have done it where like, yeah, if you have expertise in sleight of hand, they'll give you like an expertise in the tool because there is no such thing as expertise in the tool.
Yeah, we'll say a sleight of hand, and you'll be able to add your proficiency bonus to that as well.
Ooh. That would then be a 30.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you
I feel like
absolutely
I'm
know.
not the only one with expertise in sleight of hands. I feel like
You,
there might be 3 of us in this party that have one.
I'm just gonna have to find craftier doors. No, you have no problem. Like you immediately recognize the make.
In that front.
You immediately recognize the model of the handle set. You begin to work away at it with the thieves' tools, and in a matter of like 20 seconds, pop, it opens, and you are able to open the door back up, going out into this main study room, which appears to be identical to before. Doesn't look like it's changed at all.
There's no signs of movement or anything?
Nothing that you can see.
Let's get out of here, Silva. I'm gonna head towards the door.
Okay. The two of you head back down through the hallway that had all the portraits on the sides. A couple of them, like I said before, like there's a few that have like smashed in frames, and a few that are slightly off kilter, but other ones just have like the layer of dust on them. You continue through. A couple of them watch as you go. You head around the corner, kind of getting back into like that mud room where the double door was situated, where the two of you kind of entered in after Silva had gotten in initially. Had you closed the double doors at the front of the building, do you recall?
I don't remember closing any doors. At least
I think
not
only
being
the double
like,
doors just because they led to the outside and they would be.
Oh, yeah, I
and
suppose
we
we
are,
would close up
we are
behind us.
technically trespassing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Why-
the
Why were the
right-
portraits watching?
the right door of these double doors is slightly ajar.
Someone seems like they were in here. Can I peek my head outside to see if anyone's like running away or anything?
Absolutely. You push the door out because it is an outswing. And you kind of peek outside. You don't see anybody immediately. It looks like the immediate area is like there's nobody around that you can tell. Still daylight.
Any signs inside? Did I notice? Like someone hiding or anything like that?
Like inside the med room that you're
buildings.
currently in?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Make a perception check for me.
14.
You are not seeing anything that looks out of place. As before, a lot of like the furnishings seem to have been like stripped from this building long ago. There's not a lot in this sort of room per se. None of the other doors appeared like they've been opened or touched in any way. Yeah, there's no other signs that like somebody else has been here that you can see.
Well, Silva, it's I wonder. It seems like someone came in. I don't see any signs though, but someone might be following us.
Well, the locked door definitely, at least, is a good sign to that. But,
And the portrait's watching you as you walk through the hallway.
Well, let's get back home then, I think, before.
I mean, the only tough part about it is the only person I feel like that would be trying to lock us down there and whatnot. Maybe the one
Would
that
be
was right
Sarah.
before.
That's what I thought. I didn't notice any signs of any entry. It seemed like whoever was here seemed like they might have known the place well.
As I would expect them to. This is supposed to be one of their hideouts. So.
Well, what do you think? Should we keep investigating now that we know that someone's followed? That Sarah might be aware of our activities.
Just try to call out to her, I guess.
Sarah? Any response? No bats flying around?
Nothing.
Huh. I mean, there is one more hideout on the way back to the inn we could stop by, Silva. It's just south in the central ward.
Yeah, again, it was just that similar realm though of if it's worth I want to I want to check on how Set is doing. Cuz cuz if you're going to make that argument inherently to get, I guess technically up through the air station realm, but arguably there's two hideouts on the way back
Oh, it is true. Yeah,
that are
there's
quote
two.
unquote, on the way. But regardless, I would prefer just to at least get back to Set there.
Okay, and then let's keep on the lookout as we're walking back.
I don't know how much
Right.
you were eavesdropping on us earlier, but we do just want to talk. Thanks. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
About Jacqueline.
Both of you make a persuasion check.
Yeah.
Wait.
17.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna ask if we wanted to do it as a help each other.
Bennett's like,
Never mind. Okay.
Whoops.
21.
Oh, well, there we go.
okay.
Let's see if I rolled this.
There is
if I was
no,
given advantage, would I get a 20? No.
There's no response. You do not hear anybody say anything back to you.
That's fine.
Okay,
Let's just
head back home. All right, where's Gary? Start heading on back.
Gary is gone. You do not see Gary the salamander.
Gary? Gary?
I was saying, well, whether or not it's to our dismay, if anybody just sees Gary, they get to just use him.
I suppose, yeah.
That was one
Oh.
of the main things that we were initially told. Now, could she have
Man.
done something with Gary? Sure. But also, we were
If
definitely
she heard-
told very,
if she
very
heard
early on
Gary.
that
if Gary dies, we riot.
If anyone hurts
that
Gary,
would be true. No, that is correct. But there is also the distinct chance that literally just anybody saw, oh, hey, there's a salamander. I'll just take that into town.
Yeah, it was. I won't make this a check or anything. Like it was the handler explained to you that like
Yeah.
Gary will hang around for like a
yeah.
few hours, but eventually they will, if it doesn't seem like there's any sign that you're going to be returning, they will eventually just return back to the handler so that they can, still be
Granted,
available
I don't
for
know
use.
if it was
Mm.
that long, but
It didn't feel like that long.
I feel like we were at Victoria Skeebles for far longer.
hmm
However, again, also if someone else were just like, hey, salamander.
all right. Well,
So-
I guess we have to walk then.
Yeah.
All right. If you would like to walk, you can begin walking.
Yeah, let's do it.
It will take you. Is there anywhere else you want to stop along the way, or are we heading right back to the Dragon Inn?
I think we should just head back, unless something catches our eyes on the way back. But
Okay. In that case, I will jump us forward a little bit for the sake of time. You find yourselves walking back through Zenith Shore. The marketplace is still, bustling, still plenty of people walking about, and you can see right ahead of you is the Dragon Inn. There is a fair amount of activity, people kind of going in and out. You don't see Set anywhere, nor do you see Dak. But the Dragon Inn is right there ahead of you if you want to go back in.
yeah,
You do catch, I will give you this, out of the corner of your eye, on the other side of the building, closer to the Augear docks, the Great Bass is in the process. There are several sailors and townsfolk that are working together to very slowly break down and carve the meat from the bass, and are wrapping it in parchment paper, salting it, and getting it stored away into boxes, crates, and sort of there's almost like this pseudo assembly line functionality going where they're carving as much of the meat from the bass that is salvageable and beginning to harvest it and pack it up, presumably to sell it to the many various restaurants and eateries throughout the city.
nice. I'm glad it's going to some use, because I don't think people at the inn could eat all of that.
Yeah. So if you want to go into the inn, you can do so. Inside of the inn, there's a good like 7 or 8 people currently kind of hanging out downstairs here. Some of them are kind of grabbing like a lunch meal. A few people in conversation with each other. You see like a young couple that appears to be, they might be like tourists because they're kind of poring over like a map and like a bunch of like brochures for various things around the city. You do see that Alice is working the bar, and you do see that Thomas is currently bustling away in the kitchen. He is in the process. It looks like he's got like this plate of like steamed rolls that have just come out of the oven that he's bringing over. Vanessa Ness kind of pops up, grabs the plate, says, "Thanks, Thomas," and she kind of brings it over to one of the larger tables. At this time of day, located entirely within your passage, rules like these are like a standard. This type of like very buttery, flaky roll. It gets served with a lot of dishes served here.
How long has it been since I went up to my room when they get back?
Probably a good 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Yeah, I'm still out then.
Yeah. But here's the thing though. You have no perception of how much time has passed while you were experiencing the visions within the candle.
True. Okay.
But yeah, the two of you are now, downstairs in the inn. You don't see Set or anyone else that you recognize. Just Thomas, Alice, and Ness, just sort of going about their work in the kitchens there.
I'll walk in and be like, "Has anyone seen Set?"
Ness pops up. Yeah, they went upstairs. They said they were feeling tired.
Sounds about right. Can I get one of those rolls?
Oh, absolutely. She grabs one of the additional ones off of like the larger platter. Just hands it over to you.
Nice.
So, anything crazy happened today?
You guys wouldn't know anything about vampires, would you?
No. She looks to Alice, and Alice is like, not for a few years now.
So, in what sense?
Oh, well, I used to know a vampire. He was very polite. He would stay at the inn on occasion. He was a traveler, a merchant. He liked staying at our inn because we had blackout curtains for his room, so that he did not have to worry about the sunlight at all.
I look over at Silva. Do you think he would know where Sarah would be? Or is that kind of like, I don't think every vampire in the city would know each other.
Well, within a
How
city,
racist.
wow. So actually, within a city, maybe because it depends on who would be like the main one and who are parts of were technically thralls and stuff like that. Now, granted, that doesn't mean they like each other, but they love each other. I wouldn't say necessarily that vampires feel like a distinctly common being, not in like the greater sense, not like human. Because, like, for example, if I met a fairy in this city, I probably would keep it in mind
That's
who
true.
that fairy is. Like, I probably would make a distinct note of it because otherwise, outside of the city, I wouldn't. We haven't met another one.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, I'll just
So
well,
if they have met each other, I imagine then they have at least definitely have note of each other's existence, whether it be positive or negative.
well, then I'll just say to her, well, we're looking for a vampire named Sarah. We're not sure where she might be, but if you hear any rumors or tell or talk of vampires, just like let us know.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, for what it's worth, when I speak of Johann, he has not. I haven't seen him since. God, might have been 997. This is a couple years ago. It's you don't find that vampires tend to stick around anywhere for an extended period of time. They have to be nomadic in nature, not only to protect themselves but to protect others as well. So they don't usually tend to stay anywhere for very long.
Okay, well, we'll have to just keep searching. Okay. Do you want to go check on set?
No.
I'll start heading up. I'm gonna go find set.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead and head up the stairs. Try to recall. I think you know where Set's room is located. Yeah. Yeah, you would know from the evening before. You go to Set's room, the door is closed. Set, you have had between when we last spoke and now, you've had maybe like 20 minutes or so to do whatever it is that you want to do in the meantime. I know you said you were taking a nap.
Yeah, and as an elf, taking a nap means I'm sitting on my bed meditating, and just kind of trying to calm and like process everything that happened and just try to get myself back to a normal state.
Sure.
Can we essentially appreciate the fact that an elf taking a short rest is just sitting around disassociating for an hour?
Mm-hmm.
It's like very relatable when you think about it.
It's how I take my short rest, yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
And then I'll sneak in a snack in the middle of that, and I'm like, "Am I really resting? What's going on here?"
But I guess inherently, if we do know that Set's gonna do that, I am gonna head to my room then as well.
Okay. Johannes, do you knock on Set's door, or do you just like open the door?
I just wanted to go up and check to make sure that the door was like. I don't want to wake him up if he's sleeping.
Okay, so you're just checking to see if the door is like closed or locked.
Yeah, I was just making sure that it wasn't like that he got back, but they said that like he was there and he was upstairs and the door was closed, so I'm assuming he's just napping. So I'm gonna head back to my room, put my stuff away.
Right, so you head back to your room, and Silva, you head back to your room as well. Anything that you would like to do in the meantime here?
I don't think so. I have no magical weapons to attune to, so I'm just gonna like rest for a second, just like jot down some notes, and then maybe head downstairs for dinner in a bit.
Okay. There's still a few hours here before dinner. So are we all wanting to do like a short rest in that case, or?
That might be nice.
That's the plan for Set at the very least.
Okay.
Get some chill down before the eventful night.
Yeah. So anybody who wants to take a short rest, you can go ahead and mark it. Heal back your hit points if you want to, or.
I'm going to at least use a fair bit of that short rest time to attempt this attunement.
Okay. So Jacqueline had told you that this sword is very unique, this rapier, and that a tribute must be paid to it in blood in order to attune to it.
Yeah. Not always knowing how much that is, I'll kind of just start by just like I'll start with just kind of giving like the like doing like the blood drop of just like poking my thumb and just letting the blood drop on it.
Okay. You just do a slight prick on the thumb, squeeze a droplet of blood out onto the blade. It lands and dissipates into the blade. But nothing changes. You don't feel any sense of like connection with it or anything.
I was hoping to do it this way. I will bring my hand to the blade. Cut my hand.
All right. You cut your hand. How deep of a cut are you going for on this?
Just enough to get some, like a relative amount of blood.
Okay.
I don't want to fully lacerate myself, but
roll a d4 for me.
3.
3. Okay. So you can decide if you want to give with this cut, if you are giving 1, 2, or 3 hit points to the blade.
I will give 3 hit points.
Okay. You allow the blood to pour down onto the blade, and you see that the blood absorbs into the blade itself, spreading down towards the hilt, and the blade itself, the rapier, begins to vibrate and lifts up into the air in front of you. And it's giving off this like magnetic hum to it. You feel emboldened, like there's a clarity that is reaching your mind, and you also feel a thirst. Before the blade resettles back down. You are now attuned to the ruby rapier.
Oh, that would explain things.
The hand that you cut, is it still open?
I mean, at the second, I'm gonna deal with that.
When you go to do so, when you kind of like turn away to either put bandages on it or heal it with magic, you hear a sound, and the blade from where it was resting flies through the air and places itself in your outstretched hand, as if you've summoned it to your grip.
Fascinating. However, I am still bleeding. I would like to deal with this before I pass out.
Get a band-aid.
I'll kind of, I guess, like attempt to kind of sheath it, and then I'll use a cure wounds to just help myself out here.
All right. Yep, you just use quick cure wounds. You're able to close up the wound on your hand without leaving any visible scars. And the blade is still there. It's not vibrating or anything. It's just still. It is not noted on the description currently. I'll toss it in there later. So one of the traits of this weapon is that if it is physically away from you, whether you throw it or it gets knocked away from you or taken, as long as you are within 120 feet of this blade, you can recall it back to your hand.
Sweet.
That's sick.
We love returning.
And you can do so as a bonus action. This does not take up an action to do so. The blade recognizes you as its wielder, and it will, when you reach for it, it will find you.
It will find you.
It will find you.
Sick.
All right. So with that, you are attuned. Anything else that you wanted to do here?
No, I'm just gonna kind of hang out around downstairs.
Okay. In that case, we will cut again. We'll fast forward a couple hours here as it gets into the evening and dinner is now being served. It is roast beef, it is potatoes, it is vegetables. Tom is cutting vegetables for his life. He's got like this huge basket of vegetables that Alice has collected that he is just peeling like a madman, getting them all ready. It is potatoes and carrots and celery and just all sorts. And then this enormous hunks of roast beef, super tender, a nice mushroom gravy over top of them. And they begin to slice that up and, bring that out for the guests, the residents of the inn that are there in the evening. You see that Milo Marigold is here. He was not here for seemingly most of the day, but he has returned. And he is deep in conversation with one of the residents that seems to be staying there about something. And as Ness, as acting as a waitress, is just kind of zipping through all these tables, making sure everybody gets the food they need. She comes over to you. Are you all looking to have the roast beef and vegetable plate as well, or is there something else that you wanted to request? Or
lots of rolls.
Okay, there is going to be, if you request more than one roll that is provided with your meal, there is going to be an upcharge on that.
Oh,
that's fine.
You got to pay an extra silver to get more rolls because they're a valued commodity.
How
just
many
like in our
rolls? How many rolls does 1 silver get me?
2.
I will hand over.
What is the maximum number
silver
of rolls?
how many rolls?
It's like when you go to KFC and you're like, I know I need more biscuits than what they're giving me with like the standard, but like I know I gotta get more biscuits.
I will hand over 4 additional silver to get 8 more rolls.
Okay.
So I can't have enough Popeyes biscuits. Let me fucking.
I can't have enough.
No ad,
yeah.
But fuck.
She gets a small plate of rolls that are kind of stacked up, gets you a nice I'm gonna forget the name of it, but just a very small rectangular plate with a large stick of butter on it that has already been partially melted, with a nice butter knife. And you are each given, these large plates of the roast beef with the vegetable blend. As you sit down at your table to eat, where do you want to sit?
Do I see a net in the area?
You do. She has picked her and her sister Sophie have picked out a table in the corner. It's like the back right corner. So same wall that the fireplace hearth is on, but it's kind of in that back corner.
Do they have enough open seats for us?
It's a smaller table, but you could probably pull more chairs over.
Cool. I'll walk over.
You can be that group that pulls chairs over and expands out your table.
Yeah. So I'll walk over and be like, Hey, do you mind if we join you?
Oh, of course. Yeah, take a seat. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just pull up any chairs that we need and go ahead and sit down and start eating.
Sophie kind of looks at all of you. When she sees Silva, she kind of catches, like there's a very clear like and then she kind of tries to hide it and like play it cool. She's like, so remind me again how you met all of these people, Annette? She goes, yeah, we were staying at another inn. Remember the one I told you about with the werewolf problem? They all were there at the same time. Sophie just goes, oh, interesting. Okay. Did you all catch the werewolf? Because Annette totally struck out. And it's like, I didn't strike out. I decided to leave. But seriously, did you all catch the werewolf?
Oh boy, did we catch something?
Yeah.
Like a disease, because you were bitten by it, right? And that's like, Sophie, shh. They were not so loud. Okay.
Stabbed more like it. Cured. So it's not a huge issue.
Who cured you?
Oh God.
The worst wizard known to mankind.
The players being like, all right, let me sift back through 50 episodes of information.
Yeah, no. Well, actually, no. The worst wizard known to mankind is dead. But
Sophie gives you a curious look at that. Like,
the sketchiest wizard known to mankind, at least that I've met.
That we've met, yeah.
I'm sure there are significantly sketchier wizards out there, but the sketchiest one I've met.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how horrible that town was. I guess it was mostly just that wizard.
No, it was the tower. The tower was the problem. But again, the wizard that owned the tower was apparently had died long ago.
Sophie's just kind of poking away at her roast beef. She kind of mumbles under her breath. I still think Larhut's the worst wizard to ever exist. And Annette goes, you're just mad because he won't let you use the observatory. She's like, well, he should. It's part of my studies.
Yeah.
Who's this wizard?
I mean, I understand, I understand the desire for studies and all, but at least he's not entrapping weird beings and clones into some weird amalgamation of horrors.
Annette and Sophie kind of like look at each other and then look back at you. They're like, that does sound weird.
Yeah, I don't know who this. We still don't truly know much of the wizard that was there. But all I do know is that I truly never wish. I truly hope that I never see another one like him.
Sophie's like, well, I don't think Larhut has tried to do anything with clones or any weirdo stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a whole can of worms.
Old and annoying,
Yeah, and that's a normal wizard.
Annette turns to you, Johannes, and she goes, you were asking earlier, right? She's talking about the great wizard Larhut. He is the keeper of the Star Peaks Observatory. You know where that's at?
No, I've never heard of it.
It's north of us. It's way up in the Star Peak Mountains. But it's still within Ondair, and so it still falls under the domain of the Magical Congress. But yeah, Larhut's the guy who's been watching it for, I think, like 30 plus years now.
Oh. Is he just kind of a dick?
He's very experienced, and he spent a lot of time in that position. Sophie pipes up, yeah, he's a dick. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Sophie, he is. You haven't talked to him as much as I have. Trust me. No, he's very picky about who gets to use the observatory, even though it's super cool, and I would definitely like to be able to use it more often.
Wizards seem to tend to have the benefit of their, you know, thing about wizards is while they are quite intelligent, have a lot, and carry a lot of knowledge, that unfortunately is not coupled with social graces.
They're basically magical cops.
No.
Everyone at the table is like,
I don't really know
yeah?
a lot about wizards.
Magical cop would kind of be like
The only wizard I've met is a huge jerk. After I look at Sophie.
I give her a side glance.
How old is Sophie again, by the
give him
way?
a side
So
glance.
Sophie she's about the same age as Ness. So they're both like around like 19, 20 years old.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. I didn't know if she was like.
But yeah, I give Johannes a curt side glance, side eye, massive, offensive side eye.
I mean, that's gonna be detectable eventually if it's massive enough,
Yeah.
I catch. Oh, can I?
The vine boom sound effect is made when I turn my head.
Yeah.
Are we just waiting on our food to arrive, or do we have our food?
You had just pulled up chairs and sat down.
Okay.
At around this time is probably when Vanessa's going to come around with the plates and the rolls that you had requested. She's going to place that all out on the table. She kind of sets it down. She's like, yeah, here's the rest of the food, because Sophie and Annette already had their food. But she brings plates for the rest of you. As she does, she kind of smiles to Sophie and says hi. And Sophie's just like, hey. And she sits down. Did you order drinks as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she would have drinks, placed out for you also. She's just like, all right. Anything else anybody needs?
I look back at the kitchen and I'm like, is he doing okay back there?
Oh, Thomas? Yeah. No, he's doing great. It's a lot of work, but it seems like he's kind of keeping up with everything so far. No, it seems like he's kind of in his element, Is that okay?
I glance over it. Tell him that every second matters. Just tell him that.
You are the worst boss on the planet.
I'll let him know. Yeah, okay.
I want to watch in the back of the kitchen while he says that, and I'm just gonna stand there with my arms crossed.
Yeah, so she leaves the table, very confused. She heads back over to the kitchen. You see her call Thomas over, and she kind of bends up over the bar counter to kind of whisper in his ear. And you see he goes from having a generally calm, relaxed expression on his face. You see the eyes widen, and he turns to look at you and makes eye contact.
To just stone faced, arms crossed, and then
make an intimidation check for me.
I'm not very good at that. That's a 5.
Then stop doing it.
I wanted to try.
He looks at you, and the confusion is it is airborne at this point, because it passes from Ness on to Thomas, as he's kind of
he's just
and you see he takes one of the kitchen knives that he was working with, and he just kind of mimes and then goes back to his work. He is not afraid of you, seemingly.
Okay, we got to work on that.
We gotta work on that. What do you mean?
We gotta work on.
as they make eye contact.
Yeah.
As they make eye contact, Set will utilize minor illusion to put "I'm a dick" over Johannes's head.
Over my head now? What the hell?
He definitely clocks it.
You got illusioned.
Damn. Okay, I'm gonna sit
This
back down.
guy. He got illusioned.
It's literally just a quick gesture in the midst of me like having all of my rolls and just sitting there and just like
Just
eating like I haven't eaten in a week.
Mm-hmm. Annette looks to you, Set, and says, "So, seems like you got a hell of an appetite going on. Are you feeling any better?"
I'll look up and just go, and then
Good,
just
that's something.
start eating. And I'll gesture to the two of them and just go, "Space Maze story," and just keep eating.
Yes, said when you got back, was everything okay? Like, what did you just get back home safe and then nothing happened?
Set drinks from their Stanley Cup before responding.
Yeah, everything was fine. I did, on my way back, I did come across someone who was apparently looking for me, which is disconcerting.
Oh.
But they didn't seem to be making much headway. So I will just be keeping an eye out for that. But yeah, I got back, met Sophie, said hello to Annette, and then just went up to my room and took a nap. Gave them a very brief overview of what happened, but told them that the two of you would be able to give a more in-depth story.
So did you all go to space? Is that what happened?
No.
Well, no, I was mostly eating kettle corn.
Oh. That's cool, I guess. And that's like,
good
so
kettle
just...
corn. It's good kettle corn.
No, I was the only one in space. Unfortunately.
Were we sure it was space?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Victoria confirmed that it was space from how I described it.
Well, if you want some cool, insane adventures, head down to Victoria Skeevils. Yeah, we there's like a labyrinth and bloodthirsty creatures of moving hand. Not a Ouija board. It was a scroll partaker.
Yeah.
Communing with spirits, evil curses. But she told us what the two potions we needed were, or had. That's basically all we were there for.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Are they like dangerous, or like do they do anything really special, or?
No, I think you sold them, didn't you, Seth?
I sold one of them. I had a potion of aqueous form turn into water for like 15 minutes.
Sophie goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I sold that one.
Oh.
Yeah, if you go to the Drowning Candle, you might be able to buy it from her.
I mean, it's your stuff. You can do whatever you want. I don't know. It sounds pretty cool.
She may be selling it at the Drowning Candle, so I would maybe go check it out. And then Set will pull out the oil of sharpness, and and then this will make it so that my sword or multiple arrows does more damage for an hour. Put it away. Figured that one was a little more directly useful for me.
What about you guys? How was traveling here?
Oh,
I was getting to passage. I mean, we had quite an adventure getting here, but hopefully it was easy.
no,
for
it
you.
wasn't too crazy. I returned back to Talon for a few days there, and I picked up Sophie. She was back in Talon visiting family. She's actually on vacation right now. In a couple months' time, she'll be heading back to Arcanix. But yeah, I picked her up, and we just sort of took the main roads over, and actually didn't run into anything too crazy. And Sophie goes, "It was boring. It was so boring the whole time. Didn't even see like anything cool. It was just like rolling hills and farmland and ugh,
Well, Sophie, you know that boring
total
is safe.
drag." Sure, but like, I don't know. It'd be cool to see something once in a while. I mean, you guys saw werewolves and you went into space. Like, that's so cool.
I mean, right now we're on a hunt for a vampire.
We
Even
didn't all do that.
we didn't all do that. That was mostly just said. I mean, right now we're hunting for a vampire, but
That's awesome.
you guys
I want to
haven't seen
hunt a
any around.
vampire, and that's like, Sophie, we've talked about this. You are not hunting vampires or werewolves or any of that until you have finished your studies, and even then, you know how mom and dad feel about it. And she's like, "Yeah, I know." Be cool though.
Cool though.
As she's like moping, I'll kind of like gesture at her with my butter knife and just be like, "I have died multiple times on our travels. I would much rather stay safe and just go back to eating."
She's gonna make an insight check on that. Is that true? Have you really died multiple times?
Oh,
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
that's a whole can of worms.
I had
But
to be
you're-
resurrected.
But you're here. How did that happen? It's usually if somebody, I mean, there's spells, but like being able to revivify someone has to happen within like the first seconds of them having died.
Yeah.
There are unfortunately stronger versions of those spells out there.
Oh well, sure. Well, something like a resurrection scroll, but like no normal person is able to afford one of those.
That's what was used on me the first time I died.
Oh, so you're rich. You have money.
No. A generous benefactor paid for it.
Oh, are they like? Was it like a duchess or something?
No. Yeah, it's not as interesting a story as you think. It was literally just some guy that wanted to be friends and helped us out.
I don't feel like anything's ever that simple.
Sometimes it is.
Like you might think it is, but maybe he has like ulterior motives that they just didn't tell you.
Oh, he absolutely does.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
It's just not relevant to this part of the story.
The story of life?
The story that I'm sharing with you about how I died and was brought back.
Okay, fine. Have it your way. So you've come back to life multiple times, and we're just gonna act like it's no big deal.
Um,
I think he's harboring a deep, indescribable sadness about it. It's a little traumatic.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, dying is traumatic.
I would agree with that. When my friend Julie's hamster died in 4th grade, the teacher tried using a revivify spell on it, and it came back, but it ended up having 3 hearts, and it spoke a different language. It was really weird.
What kind of revivify spell did he use?
I don't think it was actually a revivify spell. I think the teacher was like homebrewing something, and it went really wrong.
Yeah, that sounds necromantic in origin.
Yeah, it might have been because the hamster exploded and then she brought it back as a skeleton hamster anyway.
Yeah, definitely necromancy. But yeah, no, I mean, it's sometimes dying has its perks,
Annette gives you a look like,
you're insane.
What are you telling my sister right now?
No, I mean, like,
really should try dying.
I'm not saying that people should try dying and being brought back. I'm just saying that I specifically have acquired more powers from having died and being brought back. It's probably a unique experience, but it happened.
That's interesting. Soph, no. Stop it. Eat your food. Whatever. Wasn't even going to do anything.
I never said I was a good influence.
Seth, I'm glad to hear that you're okay and that you have managed to not make death a permanent thing, even though it usually should be. But I don't know, maybe be more careful. I mean, I can't imagine your friends are thrilled at the idea of you constantly dying all the time. You gotta look out for yourself,
I mean, I'm trying.
Doesn't sound like it from what I'm hearing.
Okay. The first time I died was because a ghost, really screwed me up.
What? What do you mean screwed you up?
It killed me. It one hit, took me out. I did not have the opportunity to respond.
Sophie, you know anything about this? And Sophie's like, she's like a mouthful of roast beef. She's like, I don't really study ghosts. Maybe I don't know, maybe Terrence would know something about that, but I don't really study ghost stuff at all. Could be like a poltergeist, but usually they just make a bunch of noise,
And yeah, it's just not great. Through no fault of my own.
Well, I believe you.
As you should. I will just go back to eating.
Annette looks at Johannes and Sova with a look of I don't actually believe them, but I'm going to let it go.
I just nod and a knowing nod. Well, then, what are your plans here now that you're in Passage?
Well, I do have, and she has Annette has a bag with her, like a carrying bag that is currently strapped, hanging over the back of the chair. She kind of looks back, just kind of pats it. She's like, I do have some of the information that, we were kind of looking into. I figured we could maybe talk about that a bit later. And, well, I am here to see if there's any other contracts to pick up. Hasn't been a lot in terms of monster hunting back home. Things are pretty quiet there. So seeing if there's anything else that, any other contracts that are open. And like I say, I'm kind of keeping Sophie here under my wing for a bit while she's on holiday from school. So, I'm showing her the city. She doesn't get to hang around in the City of Passage too often.
We've liked it so far, mostly, aside from the raids. They told you about the curfew, right?
Yeah, the stuff going on with the druids seems pretty messed up.
Yeah, no one's really been able to tell us exactly what's been going on with it, but we just know that there's some not so civil disagreements. Well, maybe we could ask Milo if he's heard of any sort of monster hunting contracts in the area. I know there's the bulletin board where we were supposed to look, but
Did looked at it.
well, we didn't look for monster hunting contracts, though. I don't think, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. She says, that's the guy who owns the place, right? With the purple robes?
Yeah, we technically kind of work for him. Maybe.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of been over there just in conversation with that person for quite a while now. I don't know if you're talking about, but I guess it's important.
If I look over, who is he talking to? Do we know them?
It is a dwarf with a large beard, extremely bushy eyebrows. They are wearing what appear to be robes, and out on the table between the two of them, there is a couple small boxes that have been stacked up, and they're very heavily in conversation. The dwarf keeps they have this huge pair of round glasses that they keep taking off and wiping the lenses of every once in a while before putting them back on.
Yes, it does look like he's involved in very serious discussions right now. Let's see what he's up to after we're done eating.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll go talk to Milo after this.
I'll gesture to Ness if I can get her attention.
She picks up on you, motioning right away. Runs over. Hey, hi. Is everything okay?
I hand her 2 more silver, and I go, "Can I have more rolls?"
Wow, you really like our rolls, huh?
I feel like I haven't eaten in ages, and these rolls are very good.
And that's is this a thing with them? Are they just really into dinner rolls? Is that?
I like bread.
Cool.
Bread is very good.
Bread makes you fat, right?
Bread makes you fat? Bread only makes you fat if you're just sitting there and eating bread nonstop and not doing other things.
I feel like that's what you've been doing for the past however long we've been talking, so.
I was in space earlier today.
Okay. Fine.
That's literally all Seth's gonna say before they continue to eat.
I mean, I was gonna say, this isn't a daily occurrence. No.
All right, well, I'm just checking up on them. Want to make sure they're okay. And Ness goes, yeah, okay, I'll get more dinner rolls for you. I'll be right back. She leaves.
Appreciate it.
So and that's kind of looking around. About the other thing we were talking about with the moons. I've been looking into that. And Sophie goes, and I helped. And Annette goes, yeah, Sophie found out I was looking into that, so now she's helping. Do you remember when we were at the other inn and the moon that was in the sky looked like Siphoros.
Um, I look at Silva.
Yeah, it was weird,
Sorry,
right?
what
It wasn't supposed to be.
It was the talking about the moon, Siphoros.
Oh, I forgot what
Yeah,
season of the moon it was in. It was wrong the way that it was, or at least like the standard way it was meant to be interpreted.
right. Because like Siphoros as a moon usually is most prominent like in the later seasons of the year. And yet it seemed like we were seeing it then, and it was, I don't know, just seemed off because the books that I had with me said that Siphoros was around that time, but I feel like I remember. I mean, it should match each moon. There's 12 moons. They should each match the month that they correspond to. So, like, the months are named after the moons themselves. So it just didn't make any sense for the moon of Siphoros to be out during the month of Ire. It just didn't seem right. So I was kind of looking into that a bit. Well, from what I could find, so the book that I had with me, it's been a part of our town's library for several years, and it had been checked out a bunch, and then 3 years ago it was checked out, and the library wouldn't tell me who it was specifically that checked it out, but I guess whoever had it kept it for like multiple months. And then when they returned it back, nobody else checked it out until I did. So it was like over a year, where nobody checked out the book. It just kind of sat there. But apparently the book was altered. The librarians are able to, whenever a book is checked back in, they can check to see if any kind of modifications or alterations have been made, because then they'll charge like a damaging fee to the person that checked it out. And they said that the positioning of the moons had been altered within that book to say that Sephiros should be appearing now as opposed to later on in the year. It was weird. A few of the moons were actually kind of changed around as well. Like the whole order was like a totally different order from what we go by on the Galifar calendar.
And that was changed in the book that you checked out?
Yeah, like somebody went through, they modified the book itself and changed the information around.
Did you happen to see in the binds of the book who last checked it out?
No, like I say, the librarians wouldn't let us see. They don't disclose that information to any of the patrons. They won't tell us who checked out, specific books.
I wasn't sure if they like wrote their name in the section.
No, nothing that I could see. All the modifications were done with magic.
Fascinating. So it seems like that I mean, this is a little confusing. I don't know. I don't know too much about the moons, but it seems like at the very least someone more than us has noticed something weird about the moons.
Yes, and that's the thing too. So I started hearing from other people that as we were kind of traveling over here, it is being noticed. Like there were like wizards and stuff and like traveling magic users that were like talking about it. I guess there's a lot of discussion about whether or not the appearance is like, a trick of the lights, or if there's just some sort of illusory spell that has been cast out that is making people appear to see the moon as something that it's actually not. Nobody has a definitive answer, but there's been a lot of questions about it.
I wonder if there's anyone in the city who might be able to tell us a bit more. Do you think Victoria would know anything about these weird moon cycles?
You said she's like a potion seller or something?
Well,
She
she's a bit,
is.
she's a
She
lot of
is
things.
a. She is a. She seems to be a fair expert in a great many things.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like somebody maybe you could talk to. There is also the library here in Passage is pretty extensive. I'm actually planning to go over there tomorrow. Sophie and I are going to go visit. I feel like they probably have their own collection on the passages of the moon. That might be worth looking into.
Okay.
It's just so weird. I mean, the moons are inextricably tied into not only our Galifarian calendar, but also, the Dragonmarks and the Dragon Shards, the Rings of Sybaris. Like, it's all of it is so tied together that the idea that there have been these, like, there's this confusion about which moon is actually present and that so many people could be affected by it. Like, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, you'd think this would be a lot. I don't know if something's so pivotal to like the very nature of the realm was changing. I feel like I'd be hearing a lot more about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about moons that have been here for the entirety of our existence. It's always been 12 moons, and that's 12 moons, 12 dragon marks, 12 months of the year. It's always been the same. And then you hear Sophie pipe up. 13. There's 13 moons technically. And Annette goes, What do you mean, Soph? Whoa. People forget about it, but there was a 13th moon at one point. It was called Krya. It existed alongside the other moons, but then there's nothing concrete. But like, my friend Pavardi's astrology teacher told me that there was like a legend that it was Krya used to exist alongside of Nim and Larvium, but it was destroyed by giants. But this was like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But like, the Salat was at war with the Quarry. The like dream folk. I don't know a lot about that stuff, but like the Salat were at war with the Quarry, and during the war, the giants ended up destroying Krya. I guess they thought that it had like a connection to how the Quarry were able to do the dream manipulation that they can. I don't know. It was like really complicated stuff. I honestly wasn't paying attention much at the end. But yeah, there's 12 moons, I guess, but technically there was a 13th moon at one point.
Okay. I'm just spitballing here, but if somehow a 13th moon came back or, was added or something, that would throw the whole schedule and that we know into chaos, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, it would kind of.
It would
shift like
everything over by one every
exactly.
year.
Yeah, everything would be offset by one.
Which is exactly what we were seeing with Symphony being early, correct? Or was it late?
But Sylphurus for it to be appearing now, that's more than just like being off by a month. That's off by like several months.
Right. It would mean that this would have had to have appeared years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. It would have to have started a while ago, and then each year it's being offset by one again until it kind of builds up to being several months apart.
Right.
So weird. Sophie says she kind of brushes back something that she has in her hair. You said that there was like druids here that are like upset about something?
Yeah, there's druids to the north that are upset about I think the reason we heard is there's like a cult or something doing weird stuff in the forest to the north, and the city isn't doing anything about it, and so that's why they're pissed.
Well, I think it was partly that they were blaming the city for. No, it was like their people were disappearing or something like that. They were blaming the city for parts of it. So yeah, they were in revolt on that. But the belief is that it's this cult, but no one can find or deal with them.
Annette says, I've heard a bit about this too. Yeah, something about like an emerald claw or something.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a name that they're using for their group. But no one's been able to track down anything yet. It was something I was considering looking into. And Sophie says, but you said they're druids to the north they're angry about this stuff. Couldn't that be like the Moonspeaker druids?
The Moonspeaker druids.
Yeah, they're from the Eldeen Reaches.
I'm being like Solid Snake.
I don't care.
Moon. What exactly does this druid circle do?
I don't know a lot. It was in one of my classes. They talked about it, but like they live in the Eldeen Reaches. And a lot of them are shifters. We were talking about this set when you got here. The shifters. So like Moonspeaker druids, a lot of them are shifters as well, and they follow the moons in almost like a religious way. They're like, they think that the moons themselves are actually like powerful spirits, and that they have a connection to the shifters. Any of the magical abilities that they possess, they consider them to be blessings that came from the moons themselves. Not even the progenitor dragons or anything like that. It's like the moons are the thing that gives us magic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this might
Not a lot of
crazy.
people talk to them though. They're pretty, they're kind of secluded off in the forest to the north there. But
No,
This
I can't
might
say that I've
seem
had much
crazy, but-
familiarity with them myself.
Well, if anyone knew anything about strange moon cycles, I mean, it might be them, wouldn't it?
it might be, but I think it'd be dangerous for us to, reach out to
Yeah.
them at this point when they're currently not too happy with us.
No.
I mean, they're not happy with the city, not us.
Not us.
So, like,
Fair.
But regardless,
honestly,
I
this
think-
sounds like a great way for us to, head out to the north, try and check some stuff out, try and maybe have a conversation with them, and if not, look for some more information on whatever this cult supposedly is doing out there.
Mm.
And if we can provide information or even figure out a way to stop whatever's going on, might as well look into it.
the first place we should go to if we're going to be heading into the Eldeen Reaches, we should seek out the King of the Forest.
Who's the king of the forest?
Well, in a way, or the King of Summer. Sorry,
Mhm.
misspoke that myself. The King of Summer is, in a way, was my guardian, fatherly figure. But
Silva, does that make you a princess?
no.
I don't believe her. I think she's a princess.
I
So
agree.
he goes, I could make you a tiara. I've been practicing.
If I was born of the King of Summer, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have gone through what I have gone through. B, nor would I be. Nor would I be here.
I mean, you're not wrong. Sophie, you should do it anyways.
If I was the
I
child,
will.
if I was the direct descendant of essentially a Fey Lord, I would probably not have had to fight in a war of mortal men.
Valid.
Oh, are you a veteran of the last war?
I am.
Wow. so interesting. I haven't heard a lot of cases of Fae being involved in that so directly.
It wasn't incredibly direct. I was very much in the I was amongst the medical tents mainly,
Hmm.
used as a used very much kind of as a morale and physical boost rather than specifically direct soldier
Well,
most of the time.
I mean, that's still a very important position. I'm sure you helped out a lot of people by being there.
But
But yeah, I definitely think that getting out to the north and asking some questions would probably be a good track for us to do. Johanna Silva, you said something about you were hunting a vampire. When did that happen?
More or less right after you left. It's a small task that we could earn us a pretty big discount on some nice gear at Harding's place. Did something about money owed, ex-lover, old flame, bitter grudges, that sort of thing.
With a vampire.
With a vampire.
Cool.
Sophie goes, "Whoa," and you see her cheeks kind of flush a little bit.
Okay. Well, do we want to focus on that first then? Get that taken care of so we can get that gear and head out to the north afterwards. It seems
Might
only
be worth taking at least one day to look around, because Silva, I think if we're going out north near where the druids are, you and I might want that armor.
I was gonna say the gear might come in handy if we're gonna get into more of a dangerous area up north.
yeah, I mean we were given the prominent hideout location, and I have some reasonable suspicion to think that she may be aware of our hunting based on where we attempted to take a first look.
Okay. So it might end up being a little more complicated than at first thought. Now you say hunting. We're really just trying to collect a debt, right?
Yeah. Searching for is more of a, we're not actually going to hurt or harm. We just kind of want to ask her where the money is. I
Okay.
just thought saying hunting for a vampire sounded cooler.
Yeah, it also makes it sound a lot more dangerous than it might actually be. But regardless, I think we can at least, first thing in the morning, start heading out and hitting up some more of those hideouts that you mentioned. Try and see if we can keep an eye out for stuff.
Could ask around about the druid circle a little bit more.
True. Yeah, we'll like you said, we'll hit up Milo once he's done with his his discussion over there, and see if he has any information. He always seems to know stuff that's going on, so.
Did the three of you want to join Soph and I at the library? We're going to be heading there around midday tomorrow.
I think it'll depend on
Absolutely.
how this hunt goes, but
I'm sure we could stop for
Yeah, by all means, don't get yourselves killed before then, please.
I more mean the amount of time it may take.
I mean, you never know. Might get more powers out of it. Looking directly at Sophie.
Sophie gives you a mischievous smile.
I'll have a small crackle of an eldritch blast between my fingertips and then make it disappear.
Annette is staring daggers at you.
Yeah, but if we're able to, we'll definitely meet up with you at the library. We'll see how our search for this vampire goes in the morning.
All right. You guys just got here. Seems like you've already got a pretty busy schedule for yourselves.
Seems to be happening like that everywhere we go.
Yeah. If we don't find stuff to do, stuff finds us. So.
Excellent then. Soph, what do you think? You ready to turn in for the evening, or Sophie's like, well, I got some other writing and stuff I want to do first. At that moment, you see Milo Marigold finishes speaking with the dwarf at the table, and they part. The dwarf takes the little boxes that were on the table with them as they turn to leave, and Milo turns and looks at you all, and you see just the absolute excitement fill his face as he sees all of you sitting there. And he quickly runs over, slams his hands down on the table. It is good to see you all here again. Have you enjoyed your food? Have you enjoyed your feast? Look at how well Thomas is doing. Our second in command is really taking the reins on this one. I feel like, honestly, I feel like I've seen him cook more than I've seen our head chef do any cooking.
Well, that's how kitchens usually go.
I wouldn't know.
Well, I would. And let me just say, the biscuits a little dry. Tell him to use a little bit more butter next time.
I shall speak with the butter mages to see if we can acquire more.
He doesn't seem to listen to me quite as much. We'll have to work on that.
I feel like there's been some sort of unspoken tension between the two of you for quite some time. I'm very good at reading these things.
That's just sous chef and head chef communication. Which he is the sous chef, and I am the head chef.
Good job clarifying that, Johannes.
He's going to make an intelligence check to see if he actually retained any of that information. And with a 3, the answer's no. He's just kind of stands there. Yes, these all sound like important words. I'm very glad that I hired all of you.
Milo, quick question for you.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Circle of Druids to the north? The what was it, Moon Speakers?
I suppose I might be.
You suppose?
Is it all right for us to speak of this in present company?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
We've been working with our friend here previously on investigating oddities in the moon cycles, and figured that speaking to the druids might be helpful. And if you had any information or leads on how to, best contact them.
Yes, I briefly spoke with the young ladies here earlier when they were checking in. As far as the druid situation goes, it's a very, let's say the stakes are pretty high. Everyone's a bit wary about what's going on. But I can tell you this much, and next time we meet, you will be able to hear exactly what Milo has to say about the druids at hand. But we are going to cut it off for now. So, until then, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing. And remember, if you need to identify a dead body, hypothetical, no reason, one of the best ways to do it is through dental records, so long as the body still has its teeth. We'll see you all next time.